Welcome to the quick hitter version of the Mike Wise Show from Pure Hoops Media. Our featured discussion this week is with Stefan Bondy of the New York Daily News, who covers the Knicks and sometimes the Nets. And I got to ask him, what about Steve Nash and his personality when it comes to KD and Kyrie? Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni are running the show now. It's an interesting dynamic with boss and player exchanging places from their Phoenix days, really.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I think Steve Nash he's taken on a tough job, and a lot of people say it's an easy job because he has so much talent, but the personalities on that team with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and I don't know if you saw Kyrie Irving came out in a podcast and said, well, anybody can be the head coach on any given certain day. So, and from my understanding, and Steve Nash kind of downplayed that comment when he was asked about it on Media Day. But, I heard that when he heard it, he was initially taken aback. So that's something that bears monitoring, is how Steve Nash, a neophyte coach, is going to handle these these huge personalities. And, Kyrie Irving has in the past shown that he's very hard to coach. And when you have this dynamic of this first-year coach with these more experienced assistants and these superstar players, it's a potentially combustible situation. And so that's going to be interesting to watch throughout the season.
Well, did you go to Brooklyn Nets Media Day?
No, I did. We have a main Brooklyn Nets writer, Christian Whitfield, and I handled the Knicks this time.
But I'm saying that were there tons of people at this Media Day?
So there's no Media Day. It's all virtual.
Yeah, Kyrie Irving still skips it.
I know. It was. I can't.
How do you skip a Media Day in which you don't actually have to meet the writers face to face that annoy you?
He has this issue where every time he does an interview, he communicates his message poorly. Right? He goes off on tangents, and he says things that he probably shouldn't, and then he blames the media for reporting what he says, and that's kind of been his pattern. And he used the excuse, well, I don't want to be misinterpreted here, so I'm just not going to speak. Well, I mean, it's your fault that you did not communicate the message properly. That's the way I feel.
Yeah. KD and Kyrie can decide the alpha dog situation, but the team has a lot of talent around. It's deep. In some ways, maybe too deep. Will Karis LeVert get enough touches to be happy?
Listen, I think, here's the thing about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. They don't play the full season, especially Kevin Durant coming off that Achilles injury. I know Steve Nash said that we're not going to play them every single game. I expect, so it's 72 games. I expect Kevin Durant to play maybe 55. He hasn't played in over a year. Kyrie Irving, last season, he only played 20 games. So you're going to need depth on this team. And that's Spencer Dinwiddie, and that's Karis LeVert, and that's really where they're going to play a big role. When they're all together on the court, it's going to be hard. There's not only one ball, and it's going to be hard to see how that's going to work. But they do need depth because, like I said, those two main guys are not going to play every single game.
Yeah, Spencer Dinwiddie, Landry Shamet, Jared Allen, DeAndre Jordan, Joe Harris, Taurean Prince, and Jeff Green. I mean, it just on one hand, you've got a heck of a rotation. On the other, Steve Nash has really got his work cut out for him. I don't see them coming out of the East based on just track record, like you said, for injuries and where the Nets are. But, they could get to the second round and then become like a title contender the next year, and guys are healthy. Who knows? I'm hopeful only because I like watching those two players play at their very best.
Yeah, and I think they have enough talent to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, maybe get to the finals. The question is, so like when they put these super teams together, we've seen it before. When he did it in Miami, and I don't know if you call Brooklyn Nets a super team. They have two superstars. But when they did it in Miami, it took about a year before they really reached their potential. It's going to require some time of these two guys playing together and incorporating a new system with a new coach.
Yep.
It usually takes some time for it to mesh. And so I think year one there's going to be some bumps.
If you'd like to hear more from Stefan Bondy of the New York Daily News, check out the full version of the Mike Wise Show from Pure Hoops Media. You can also see the video version of the Mike Wise Quick Hitter on the Pure Hoops Media YouTube channel. Say yes.
Yes.
Yes. Margot says yes, you should too.